message?
It actually is Black CAP stands for Black Coalition Against AIDS Prevention. So within the entity, the organization itself, they're different departments, and people are
Mhm.
dealing with different aspects. So there's mental health. There's a director of mental health promotions, which is my boss, Chris. Then you get someone that's dealing with the youth. Then you have someone that's dealing with the women. Then you have someone that's dealing with the trans man. And then you have me, of course, that deals with the trans women. And we have resettlement services. We offer support to our Black community because actually our Black community is overlooked when it comes to that.
Okay, now that you've said that, how do you reach out to people that are suffering, like you said, from mental illness, drug addiction, or just the mere fact of being marginalized within communities upon other communities? Because we're not just within the gay community, we live in other communities as well. How do you reach out to these young trans women and marginalized women to offer them the programs at Black CAP? Where do you find them?
Actually, what happened when I first took over, in order to find these girls to come to join Black Cap and come into the program, I spent a lot of time out in the community where they would frequent maybe the bars, maybe the streets. I also actually advertised a lot. I went into women's shelter, and I actually, in collaboration with Koski Shelter in Spadina, I have done workshops with them on how to deal with trans people because they're offering a shelter and they didn't know how to deal with trans people. So I actually did a workshop with them. I
Mhm.
actually did two workshops, one on how to deal with trans people, and the second was in harm reduction. So, right, and also you also take the network, sorry, and the partnership. So if they have someone that is going through maybe anxiety, depression, mental health, they would always refer to us. So they would refer them to us and we would take the necessary steps to help them and give them the support that we know we can give them.
This is wonderful. Like I say this in quite a few of my different conversations. It's wonderful that we actually have these programs and these platforms now to where we can actually talk to each other, see each other, and share great information, stuff that was kind of hard for us back in the day.
Yes.
Now, are you seeing any real success from your work?
100%. When I first started the group, we had a drop in at the organization at Black Cap on Victoria Street. And I started the group with approximately 3 girls. Now I have approximately up to 25 girls. So I am actually in discussion with my boss because my caseload has gone from here to there, right? So it's
Okay.
actually abroad. So we have seen an influx in numbers, especially when we're doing our monthly drop in. We're seeing that numbers because the girls now have something they can come onto or they can talk to via virtual and face to face. And I would always schedule one-on-one sessions with them, stress relievers, how you're doing. Tell me how and describe your day in a color right now. If they say red, why are you feeling red? Or describe yourself as a dish. I may feel like soup or I may feel like a salad. Why are you doing that? And we still do group activities. So now with this pandemic, honestly, I know it's bad. The pandemic is bad, but it actually brought up more girls to seek more assistance and to get the help that they need. And plus, the girls in the group that are already in the group, they actually refer other girls and tell them about the group. And the group is called TITS, by the way, which stands
Hmm.
for Trans Information Toronto Sisters.
Okay.
So they would refer the girls and tell them, like, hey, we are part of this program. We have drop-ins, we have activities. And the girls will actually get in contact with me. And the other girls, they would refer them over to me as well.
Hmm. That is wonderful. I like the way you said that. It just was amazing because it showed that, like you said, the pandemic was bad in one way, but it worked in a positive way for a lot of marginalized people that wouldn't have been getting these services if it wasn't for this pandemic. Great, great, great Great work you do. I mean, I'm just listening to you just for just a few minutes. It's great. Great work that Black Cap does. And you know, I've been in this community 31 years. I was with them in the trenches when we didn't have nothing and no services.
I
And
know.
there was just, everybody was just dying, and it was just, we didn't have anything to look forward to. But it's great now that we have these positive programs and these positive organizations that are reaching out to people on a constant basis. And you know, living in Toronto, we're blessed to have healthcare, and we're blessed to have a lot of these amazing programs for us. Now, your life in Canada, I understand how you identify, but can you tell our audience so this way they hearing it from you?
I identified as a female because of through the transitioning process. So everything is female. There's nothing, I should say, male about me. I transitioned right into female. So being from Barbados, I used to live in Barbados there, and it can be hard living your life as a gay person or LGBTQ person within Barbados because of society. Some people are accepting and some people are not. So actually, to go to work like this, I would never get a job in Barbados because I look like this. And Barbados is such a small country, a very, very small country. Everyone knows something or always know about someone. So I just had enough of it because there's no way that I'm going to be in a country where I can contribute to your workforce and you're hiring me because you're not hiring me or refusing me because of my appearance. So I just decided, okay, it's time to go migrate to Canada.
Now, your road, let's just say you have found success in Canada. I hear you're married now. Oh, look at that. Oh my God. So how did you and your husband, before you decided that you were both in love, did you ever have the discussion about that you were male before?
Of course, when I met him, I told him because he would hit me up because we would chat online. Well, I first met him online on Tag. So I was there and I met him, and it took me 3 days. And I'm sure when he sees this, he's going to tell everyone it's true. It took him 3 days, 3 days for me to respond to him. And I told him, he said, "Can I have your number?" I said, "Well, there's something that you need to know about me. I'm not your type." But then he put up this defensive wall and said, "How do you know I'm not your type?" I said, "Well, I'm a transsexual." So after 5 minutes, he came back. I said, "Did you Google the word?" And we both laughed about it. He said, "Really, you're sexy." So then we exchanged numbers and began to create a bond. And I showed him pictures of me before as a male, pictures of me now. And it's quite obvious, well, he's my husband. So I showed him everything. I don't hide. And I believe that when a trans woman meets someone, they should always tell them, 100%, tell them your story. Let that individual man make the decision to go with you or not to go with you. Because if you don't tell him and he goes with you, because some of us girls are pre-op and post-op. That means some of us has the female genitalia, and some of us still have our male genitalia. So if you're one of those and the guy said, "Well, okay, they're looking to see this," they're not going to see between your legs because your clothes are on. So not telling him and then getting in the bed with him and doing that can lead to something very destructive.
Now that you said that, I want to just point out one thing. When you think about government ID in Canada, I know in the US they're making a move towards changing the gender on identification. Now, have we reached that point in Canada yet?
Yes, we have. All of my IDs are female. I don't have nothing male about me. What happens is that you go to see an endocrinologist or your doctor, and your doctor will always write a letter for you. And your doctor will say, well, the gender does not match the identity. And then you take it into Service Canada, you have your name change, but you must spend 1 year in Ontario before you actually change your name and change your gender at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Now that you've said that, now how important is your work at Black Cap? How important, just so people can understand that Black Cap means business when they are reaching out to help you?
They never had a role like this as Black Cap, as you identified before. And I came into the role. Actually, no one knew where the role was going to or the vast extent because this is the first time. So me being running a call center for years, so one of my trans friends said, Kitani, you need to get out of the call center and try something new. And I was like, okay. And they said Black Cap is hiring. However, it is very important for my role because we have so many Black girls out there that are suffering from anxiety, suffering from the lack of support, suffering from from mental stability. And it's very important as humans, not only for LGBTQ, that we have that support, especially going through that, right? So the work is going into the field, getting hands-on with the community, working with partnership networks, working with ShareBoard, working with different partners to ensure not only that we are coming together to seek the best interest, but we provide what we say we're going to do. Okay. So it's something that is extremely important, and these girls never had this before, and they're very, very grateful for it because they have someone that they can look upon, go to with their problems. Because I also help them with their mental issues. I talk to them one-on-one. I listen to them. Sometimes I tell them, if you have a problem, don't even care what time it is. You can call me on my work phone. That is not a problem. We're going to talk about it, because the last thing that I want these girls to do is to think there's no one out there that doesn't care about them or their interests.
Now that you said that as well, how do we change? Our community sometimes can be its own worst enemy. And sometimes, even though the trans have they're active in the trans march and trying to bring trans awareness to respect, trying to just show people that they matter as well in the world. But yet, sometimes when it comes to the performers who might not totally identify as trans, or they're drag queens or female impersonators, or however they feel that they identify as, sometimes our own community chastise us, because I've heard this word so many times and it's brought the fight on every time, tranny. Why? How can we change that?
I despise that, tranny, because you see, that's a culture. It's a habit that they adopt. So it's like the new fashion trends are coming down, like the Samsung S20 Ultra Plus. Everyone is going to want one of those. So they're so accustomed to calling it the Ultra, is that when they go back, they're so accustomed to looking at every person as a transsexual, they call them tranny for short. And it will take a lot of work for them to actually change that word to reflect female or just transsexual. And it also have to do with the individual, because if you're talking to me and you're going to refer me as a tranny, I said, okay, well, I don't feel comfortable for you calling me a tranny. So can you please refrain and stop from that? So it will take a lot of hard work, and we have to actually bring awareness to the person that's saying it to us in our face. So we have to let them know where we stand. It's like if they call us the wrong name, say for instance, somebody called me Katarina. That's not my name. My name is Katanya. So you actually have to correct them. So it's still work in progress, and we're currently working on that, but it will take some time to reach the place in which it needs to go.
Okay. Now, this is a sensitive question concerning religion. And us being, coming from most of us that are Christians or however else we celebrate religion, under whatever it is. But in the Black community, it's mostly about Christianity. So how is it that we see the Black churches reaching out to, like you said, the shelters and what they consider the normal society, but you never see them step in to take charge and help and focus on the LGBT two-spirit pronoun community, and mainly the trans community?
It has been that way for many years, and I don't believe in it, because there's no way that you are Christian and you are choosing to help a certain group of people, heterosexuals, people that are not gay, are not trans, are not non-binary. You cannot choose. It's either you're going to accept us all, or why are you there then? Because I am so tired of hearing people, and I know I may get dinged for this, but this is my personal opinion. I am so tired that from the time that people hear about, okay, you're trans, or you are gay, they run for the Bible. Why? Are there any other educational resources that you can use to get your point across? But yet in the Bible, it says, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, but you run for a Bible. And at the end of the day, all of us have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Because you're not going to come and tell me that God is going to put me in the pits of hell because of who I am, and I am gay, but yet you had children out of wedlock, you wear mixed match clothing, you eat pork, all these things the Bible speak about. So I don't understand where you're coming from. It really baffled me for years and years and years and years, because I had an experience in Barbados, whereas I was beginning to transition before I came, and the Jehovah's Witness would come to my house. And from the time they see me, they will say, men should not lie with men. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they would say, your lifestyle is wrong. I said, my lifestyle is wrong, but no offense to you, you're also insane. Because look at you. You have on a denim skirt and a polyester blouse. Are those not mismatched fabrics? And they would actually close the Bible and run away. They don't want to hear me anymore.
Well, I just wanted to say that because my parents were heavy Christians, but they never chastised me for just being me. And me and my sister, we talk a lot about our folks because we miss them, but yet they were very good to us without ever throwing the Bible in our face. I'm the baby, my sister's in the middle, my brother's the older, but they never, even though we all had three different lifestyles. My brother was sort of like you said, he was all over town with every kind of woman in the world and ended up marrying outside of his race, which at the time our parents thought, I don't want white people in my house, this and that, even though our neighbor was white. And then my sister ended up marrying her first husband, who she's married to today, that's white. And then there's me, the baby, the gay one, that all my relationships have been mostly European men. Now, what do you think, do you really feel, do you think the LGBT community embraces the church? Do you think they go? Do you think they attend church?
I don't think the vast majority attend church. I could be wrong, because they're so afraid of rejection. And with all that is going on, I mean, you're rejected by your family, you're rejected by society. And now you go to the church where you thought that you were accepted and loved because of what Christianity is all about. And then they reject you, and our priest may get up and say, we don't want that kind of person in our church, and ask them to leave. So that alone is very heartbreaking, because you're turning away, and then you're preaching words and saying, Jesus said, suffer the little children to come unto me, while you're still turning away God's creation.
I have learned so much. I miss my parents so much, but they always taught me to just love. And this is why, no matter, we can always say this happened to us and that happened to us. But you always have to just get up and keep getting up. And I learned that just you have to love everyone. You don't have to get along with them. You can just stay clear of them, but you have to love them for just being human beings and just being what we are here for, is to love each other, take care of each other. And that's what life is about. But for somewhere along the line, we have chosen so many different, I'm this, I'm that, I'm over here, I'm over there, I don't like you, you're this, you're that. And it's putting so many barriers in the way of where we are to go. Now, a perfect example is I watched something that was trending a lot on Facebook and YouTube and all these places when the pandemic hit and the little children weren't going to school. Now, before, we've always talked about how you teach children to hate and discriminate